Welcome to the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode 25 of The Joy of Coding. I'm Mike Conley. We're going to be hacking on Firefox stuff today. It's going to be a great day. So let's get down to business. Let me just switch you to my screen. There we go. So let me show you the agenda for today. Today is August 12th. Okay, first thing I should point out is that I'm giving you advanced warning. Next week's episode will probably be the last episode for a couple of weeks. I'm going away, I'm going on vacation. And so there are a couple of weeks there where there just won't be any weekly episodes. I'm sorry. But I will be back for the 16th of September. So I'll be gone for August 26th, September 2nd, and September 9th. But I will be back with episode 27 on the 16th of September. So that's what's going on. So if the week after next you're like, where is the episode? And you think that maybe the show's been canceled or something. Not the case, just a minor hiatus. So that's what's going on. Uh, for today, what are we working on? So I had two things I wanted to potentially work on today, and I kind of shouted out both options on Twitter, and one person said, "I'd rather you worked on this." So I will follow. It's basically a coin toss, and that fellow on Twitter helped me lean in one direction. So it's not much of a coin toss, but it's where I'm going to make it so that whenever we're profiling, and by profiling I mean gathering a performance profile, which is useful for like determining what's making Gecko and Firefox be slow. When we're gathering profiles, when we have profiling turned on, if a process starts or ends before we've actually gathered the profile, currently we lose any profile data from that process when it ends. And what I want to do is make it so that if the content process or plugin process ends before the parent can request the profiles, that on exit the process will like cough up a profile for the parent to hold on to until the user requests the profile. So that way we don't actually lose any data, because right now we have this like performance test called TPS. We get TPS reports. It was intentionally called TPS. We have this test that measures how long it takes to switch between tabs. That's very useful for tab switching performance, especially with E10S, where tab switching performance is a thing we're working on. And we want to be able to gather profiles from our testing machines to figure out ways of making it faster, and getting rid of the bottlenecks. But we can't gather the profiles because after the test is finished and we tell the content process, okay, or we tell Gecko, go get a performance profile, the content process that was being run has closed out because we closed the last remote browser or remote process browser. And when the last remote process browser goes away, Gecko shuts down the content process naturally. It doesn't just keep it around. So that's a thing I want to fix with this bug. So this is bug 1103094. It's actually so I made a mistake. Um, I originally thought that we weren't getting these profiles from the content process for TPS because when we started profiling, um, a different content process was starting up, and we weren't getting profiles from it because currently if you start profiling and then another content process starts up or a plugin process starts up, those new processes don't know that they need to start profiling. And I thought that's what I needed to fix. And so I spent a couple hours and I wrote a couple of patches to fix it. But it turns out it's more about the processes ending before they can cough up the profiles. So the initial work that I did is not going to solve the problem, but it's still useful, and I'm going to build on top of it. And that's so I should probably change the title of the bug to be more accurate of what the work is going on in here. So it was start profiling subprocesses if the parent process is already running. Uh, so I'm going to change that to like get profiles from subprocesses that uh, that have run or will run during pro profiling, that will run while profiling. And I will instead get gather because we'll be using the profile gatherer. So I'm going to be modifying this bug somewhat. Oh, I have a feeling that this... I don't have the... Is that... Oh. Maybe I should do this in a separate bug that depends on this. I think that might be a better idea. Profile dumping. So I might open up a new bug, or the problem is dependencies with. It'd be good if Moz Review allowed me to like push and then have review requests open on different bugs, but as it stands, I think it currently puts it on the same bug for like the oldest commit in the push. So I might just keep it all in here for simplicity's sake instead of splitting it all out. No, no, I'm gonna do it the right way. I'm gonna clone this bug, and I'm going to create a new bug, and then I'm going to make it a dependency of this other one. Cloning should already hook up that dependency, I think. Gather profiles, make it possible to gather profiles from processes that have exited. When a subprocess exits before the parent process while profiling, when a subprocess exits before the parent process requests the profiles, we lose the profile data from that subprocess. We should make sure we can continue. The subprocess should cough up its performance profile data before it exits if it detects that the parent is currently profiling. So it blocks, no, it doesn't block that. Depends on that, that's true. Blocks the same bugs. That's actually exactly what I want. And I'm going to make it tracking question mark. And I will take this one. Cool. So I've just live hacking for the next hour and a half. Someone in IRC has asked if I can help them with something. It's printing related. Maybe I don't really want to get distracted, but I mean that's reality. I mean, so JLD says if anyone has any advice on how to reproduce this bug locally, that'd be nice. Otherwise, I'll be beating my head against the printing code for a while. Looking, although, hope it's cool that I'm live hacking while looking. I'm sure it's fine. So this is what Jed's mentioning. So I've completely shifted gears for a second because someone's asking for help, and I want to see if I can help them real quick. So I'm the developer of the print edit add-on. So JLD, who is working on this particular bug, has this pointing to this comment from someone else. JLD is Jed. So Jed, I'm the developer of the print edit add-on. I'm currently migrating to E10S. That's great. The only feature in print edit that is now working in E10S is saving the DOM as web page complete. I've tried using the new save browser function, but it hangs without throwing any exceptions or logging any error messages. The DOM is slightly unusual because as the static cloned print preview DOM generated by create static clone in NS document, which is called from init in NS print object, which is called from print preview in NS print engine. Using save document to save this print preview DOM worked fine in early versions of Firefox. JLD wants to know how to reproduce. So are you testing this with DWDev's add-on? Print edit. Because that's what DWDev works on, is print edit. You might find it easiest to ask DWDev to post the sounds like it won't work with E10S currently, right? But if he can get you to install a development version of the add-on that hangs, then you've got STR. No? Okay. So back to what I was doing before. So what's the plan? I say that there is no plan, and yet I have been thinking about this bug just a little bit. So I should actually, I've opened a new bug to do this work. This is bug. And what's the bug? It's bug. This bug. Quickly link to that. So if you are following along, if you're watching this video and you're following along, down in the additional links section of Air Mozilla, there should be a link to the agenda, and that should have a link to these notes, and you should be able to link to like this bug as well. In fact, I will put a link to this bug in the notes. I'll create some new notes. Here, boom. So let me replace that with this, and let's create some new notes. So new bug. Our new notes. And copy public link and put it in the agenda. There you go. And if you're watching this on like my blog or on YouTube or something, a link to this agenda should be in the description or just below the video or something, if I've done my job right. So what I want to do is copy a lot of this over to here. Okay. So this is the job. Expose profile. So there's this thing called the profile gatherer. I had originally done some work with the profiler so that we can gather profiles from subprocesses asynchronously, because before you could get into like deadlocks if you tried to get them synchronously. So now we do it asynchronously using this tool called profile gatherer, and that profile gatherer only exists during the time whenever you want to like get the profile. We like instantiate it, get the profile, and then kill it. And JLD's back. What does he say? He says, I guess I can just answer the need info with the need info. I was hoping there was something I could do something with the info I already have. Well. Stack clone generated by creates as document was called from init, as print object was called from print preview, and as print engine. Perhaps you can get the hang by attempting to save browser a print preview. But I'm really not sure what DWDev is doing here. Remind me again which OS you are on. If OS X, there is a way you can trigger the full-blown print preview mode that's not officially supported or exposed for OS X. Because there is a way of doing it. Anyway, so back to here. Context switch, context switch. Gotta be good at context switching.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to tie the lifetime of the profile gatherer to the window of time that we're actually profiling, instead of just instantiating it and destroying it when we want to get a profile. There's like, well, because there's two phases. There's the recording window whenever you are like recording, you've got like your stopwatch out and you're recording things, and then there's the like getting the actual report. And we were creating the profile gatherer at that latter stage where we just want to get the report from everybody. But I'm saying we need to get the profile gatherer instantiated and running for the entire recording window, because if if a subprocess dies during the profiling window, we want to use the profile gatherer to like get the last breath profile from the content process before it shuts down. JLD says, using Linux, but I also have OS X here. Linux, you don't need to do anything special for getting into print preview. Should be available to you. So maybe try that. Try print previewing document, and then in the browser console, try using save browser on gbrowser.selected browser to see if it causes a hang. This is all just guesswork. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Okay, and then we want to expose that profile gatherer so that, like, because we have like a couple of cases to consider. One is we start profiling and we already have a number of subprocesses running, and in that case we need to alert all of the parent actors for those subprocesses, and those parent actors run in the main process. We need to alert all of those parent actors about the profile gatherer because they all hold references to the gatherer, and like use it to like stuff profiles in once the content processes return the profiles. But we also, so that's like pre-existing profiles when we are pre-existing content parent actors whenever the profiling window starts. Then there's the other case of we're profiling and we open a new process, and it needs to know to get a handle, get a reference to the profile gatherer. And I think that's the only cases we have to care about. We're either profiling or we're not profiling. No, sorry. We are either a pre-existing content process or we are not a pre-existing content process. Those are the two cases. And then what we want to do is notices that we've stopped profiling, have it drop the reference to the profile gatherer. Content parent notices that we've started profiling, have it grab a reference to the profile gatherer. That's the other case. If content child is shutting down and it knows we're profiling, have it send up a profile to the parent, have the content parent notify the profile gatherer, then make it so that the profile gatherer can hear about those profiles and hold on to them, even though we haven't actually asked for it to gather them yet. Just hold on to them. Maybe have a 5 profile cap on this, because it's possible that, who knows, maybe in our testing infrastructure or something, we might open and close 1,000 sub-processes, which is crazy, but who knows, it could happen if you like open one remote browser and then shut it down, then another and shut it down. You could end up with like many profiles if you're profiling. So we'll have a cap of like 5, magic number 5, and we can tune that as needs be. And when the actual gathering starts, have the profile gatherer go and get the profiles from the currently running processes, but also jam in the ones from the profiles or the sub-processes that have exited. And then we might want to think about like when we drop those gathered profiles. Right now I'll probably just like drop them as soon as we gather them, but in the future we might want to like hold on to those dead content process or sub-process profiles and hold on to them until the sliding profiling window, because it's a circular buffer. Like it's like a black box. Performance profiles are like a black box. It's exactly like a black box inside an airplane, which like records what's going on at all times. And a black box is like will tape over itself when it reaches the end of its like storage. It goes right back to the beginning, and that way you've got like a window, sort of a constant window of recorded activity. And when we reach the like end of the tape and loop back around, we start erasing stuff, the oldest stuff, and then we go over it again. And I want to make it so that if we eventually go over the block of time where we had gotten the dead sub-process profiles, so we just chuck out those profiles. But we'll probably do that later. Oh, it sounds like JLD has got his STR. Yes, it does. Plus minus warning messages. While hanging, it turns there's no UI response. It's kind of obvious in hindsight. Thanks. I think I know what's going on now. Okay, great. I was able to help JLD. Cool. All right. Moving along. Let's see if we can do this stuff. So where are we? What have we got? So I've currently got this patch that like makes it so that if we start up a content process while we're already profiling a content or a plugin process while we're already profiling, then it starts profiling those processes, and that's a good base to build off of. And now it's this stuff. So I've spent a good 20 minutes or so on exposition, so let's get down to business. So the first step, let's expose. No, I'm going to change the order here. I'm going to make Profile Gatherer be alive during the profiling window. So Profile Gatherer, that's this thing. And it's currently created in, where is it created? Who creates a Profile Gatherer? Whoops. This is where DXR comes in very handy. Profile Gatherer. Gather async profile. Who creates a profile gatherer? Somewhere, someone, here we go. We create a new one. The Gecko sampler. Sampler. The sampler holds a reference to the profile gatherer. Now, I want to be able to get a reference to the sampler. SI profiler is like how XPCOM exposes the profiler to other bits of Gecko. And I want to like check out nsprofile.cpp. Sampler. We might have to like drill a hole in order to get this gatherer. Or we make the gatherer a thing that the NS profiler holds on to. So currently, profile gatherer is held onto by Gecko sampler. There's no direct access to Gecko sampler, I don't think. Let's take a quick peek. Gecko sampler. There's like platform.cpp under tools profiler. Yeah. Oh, come on, find it. Platform. There it is. Gecko sampler. So we get the Mozilla sampler. Mozilla sampler start. There are all these like Mozilla specific things in here. If we can make Gecko sampler.h gather. Right now it is a private NSRef pointer. Maybe I can make it return it. Return it. Okay, so plan of attack. Add an accessor to, or wait, we have to think about the creation lifetime as well, because the profile gatherer is only created during 2JS object async, And when is Gecko sampler created? Gecko sampler. Who instantiates a Gecko sampler? Here, under platform, under sampler start, we create a new sampler. So this would be an excellent opportunity to also create a gatherer. So I wonder if we can combine the sampler and the gatherer. Having these like individual objects seems a bit silly. Whoops, new Gecko sampler. What is Gecko sampler? Does it implement any NSI gunk? It does not. And maybe we want to keep it that way, in which case having the profile gatherer be its own class isn't too bad. But basically what we're doing is creating a one-to-one relationship between the Gecko sampler and the profile gatherer, which I don't know if that's useful. So maybe I will take a note. Consider follow-ups. Consider combining profile gatherer with Gecko sampler. Okay. So have Gecko sampler instantiate and hold a reference to a profile gatherer on construction. Hold a ref counted reference. Right. Okay. So far so good. So we have the Gecko sampler hanging around. I hope we don't leak it somehow. That's a problem when you have all these different classes. Okay, instantiate, hold ref counter reference. Then we want to that's probably it actually. Then the next step is to expose it through NSI Profiler, which so NS Profiler will need to like call into the profiler internals and get that reference and expose it back, because that's how things like I believe the content parent needs to talk to the profilers through NSI Profiler. Okay, so let's do it. Gecko sampler. So originally we were saying new profile gatherer. We were doing that here, to JS object async. And then we start with profile gatherer. Start. This will all probably have to change. Like we might have to pass the since time and the promise to gatherer start. How's gatherer work again? What does it do with since time? Since time, since time. Does it do nothing with since time? Okay, it uses it here. Mticker. Sampler. I see. Okay. Alright, alright. So what we'll do is under the constructor, we will do this construction instead. But I'm also going to change the signature here so that, yes, it takes a ticker. It does not take a since time or a promise. Start. And then start will take a since time and a promise. M since time equals A since time. M promise equals A promise. And then because this thing will exist like throughout the sampling, it might do several gathers. We'll probably need to hold some state on whether or not it's gathering. Gatherer.h bool M gathering. So okay, start M gathering equals true. If M gathering, if we're already gathering, reject the promise. This isn't going to end well. So that's a to do. It'd be nice if there was like a way I could reject with some kind of specific message. Maybe reject. Is there a way I can like pass some string out? It creates a DOM error. Error value. Invalid state. Want like busy or something. Abort. No. Valid access. May reject. Well, maybe we'll reject right now with like NS error not available. Gathering. If a promise. Maybe reject. Maybe reject. NS error unavailable. And then return. We're done. Otherwise, we're good to go. Then when we're finished, we need to like say that we're done, and we need to clear out this time equals 0. M promise equals null pointer. M gathering equals false. So now this thing should also M pending profiles. Profiles equals 0. Yeah. I don't know if that's necessary, actually. Certain. Okay, anyways, we'll leave that for now. Okay, so now the gecko sampler doesn't need to be created here. And we don't necessarily need to clear this out to do remove. Okay, so then during construction, mgather, and then we pass it this, so that they are bound to one another. And then we don't have to clear it out or anything. On destruction, that should be enough. Gather, start. Start, we have to pass async time and the promise. So if I'm right, this should both compile and still allow us to gather async profiles from the child. So let's find out. So let's build profiling directory. Let's see. Oh, wah wah. Doesn't like it. No matching constructor. Oh, I've got to change the signature here. Right, let's try that again. Is that gonna work? Doesn't like it.
Mamma
Nope.
mia!
That's what I wanted. Start. Start's being called incorrectly. Profile gather. I've changed the signature of start. That's why. Change the signature of start. Start now takes these things. Still doesn't like it. Ah.
Oh, wow, 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 wow.
Unknown type promise. Did you mean DOM promise? I most certainly did. Is that how I used to refer to it in here? Profilegatherer.h. Excuse me. What? Where's the header? What? There it is. Yeah, Mozilla DOM promise is what I should have used. Mozilla. Come on. Doesn't like it.
Oh, wow, 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 wow.
I don't think so.
Out of line declaration of a member must be a definition. So, what does that mean? Unknown type name, a ticker. Oh, I'm still being silly. A ticker. On line 18. Right, it's bad syntax. That should be like that. Colon. Still doesn't like it. NS error not available. That's right. Thank you, compiler. I had the wrong error message. Or NS error unavailable doesn't exist. It's unavailable. Hey!
Hi-oh! Oh, yeah. That's right.
We got ourselves built. That's nice. Let's see. By the way, if you're interested in like, maybe you see problems in what I'm doing, or like have ideas on how I can do it better. I'm in the #live hacking IRC channel, and I would love to hear feedback on like, if you can find ways or have ideas that I can do my job faster or better. Or like, Mike, you should do this instead. You should combine Profile Gatherer with Gecko Sampler and that sort of thing. Send me a message in IRC. I would love to hear about it. We can chat it out. I'm hoping this can be more interactive. If you are interested in talking but you don't know how to connect to IRC, there's a link in the additional link section below that like connects you to a web-based IRC client called using a service called Mibit, which should let you get into the live hacking channel and you can talk to me. I'm M Conley and you can chat with me, and it's not the most user-friendly chat in the world, but just a thing to think about. It's just an offer to you. Okie dokie. So now that that's built, does it work? I think I actually have to like build binaries in order for this to like actually manifest. We can test. Gotta do the old linking thing. Meanwhile, assuming that this works, what it would be next? Next would be to somehow expose that now constantly existing profile gatherer um, via NSI supports. There's the other step of like make it so that new content parents and plugin module parents get a reference. Oh yeah, I need to do this first. Yeah. Oh, and I make new. I was already going to write down. Make new content parents and plugin module parents get a reference to the profile gatherer on instantiation, or when they write. And then when that's done, then I need to like. Philip wants to know if there's a way to watch the live stream without Flash. I don't know, man. Like the person I would ask is Richard. Richard is basically my behind-the-scenes like wizard who connects me with Air Mozilla, and I believe they've been working on trying to migrate us off of Flash. Richard actually, I don't believe, is on IRC right now. Like he's in the room, but I think he's away from keyboard. So I will. What I will do when Richard comes back, I will, you know, he will hopefully see that message from Philip, and and hopefully answer. So there you go. Right, so we want to make new content parents, so you get reference to profile gatherer on instantiation. Then we want to modify profile gatherer to accept profiles from dying sub-processes. Now, modify profile gatherer to hold onto 5 profiles from dying sub-processes. 5 is just some magic number that we chose, Benoit and I. And then modify profile gatherer so that when gathering starts, gathering finishes, we can then sew together all of the dead process profiles in as well as the main content, or as well as the other main, what am I trying to say? As well as the other sub-process profiles. And that might involve us like registering, whoop. This might involve registering the gatherer as an NSI observer for the profile sub-process gather observation, or observer notification. Whoops, didn't mean open system preferences. Wait. We notify profiler subprocess gather, and then what do we do? How does this? I'm trying to remember how this works. We've got all the async profiles now. It's time to finish off the profile and resolve the promise. So what do? Is we get the profiles, parse it all. When do we actually like sew it all together? We're really hosed if we can't get the JS context. So what do we do from the buffer? What's the buffer again? Oh, this is going to go and get all of the profiles, right? I understand. And that's going to use profile subprocess. So not subprocess gather, but profile subprocess observer notification. So that whenever we do this, something in here is going to get notified that'll allow us to like jam in our dead subprocess profiles. Now what? Be alive. So has this thing finished? It has. Let's test it. So the test will be, I'll attach GDB, or not, I'll attach Xcode. I'll use LLDB, and what I'll do is I'll make sure that the profile gatherer destructor, is there a destructor? There is no destructor. There's like an implicit destructor. I should probably have put in some kind of destructor so that I could make sure it's being destroyed. Oh, what happened here? Assertion failure. Crash on startup. What happened there? Hard to say. I have no idea what that was. Not my problem. That's down in networking, and someone will hopefully be looking at that right now. Gonna play some sounds while I wait for this stuff. Yeah.
I can't do my work!
At least not until this browser's finished starting up. Here, I will attach to the parent process. Hurry up. Come on. Load a page. Undo it. Come on! My drum roll ran out. Here, let's try it again. Oh, here we go. And the page is loaded. Great. I need to make that drum roll longer. I've hit some kind of breakpoint. Oh. Turn off that breakpoint. Okay, so what do I want to do is I want to gather profiles. This might actually take a long time to do. I seem to recall gathering profiles from debug builds like takes 5 ever. I guess I just want to make sure we don't crash. mgatherer, warning, mgatherer, line 421. What? Gecko sampler. 421. Oh, shoot. That's not what we want to do. We should warn if not mgatherer. This promise will never resolve. Let's get out of here. We're done. So that we learned a lot there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do just a normal opt build. Aaron Ramus just mentioned in IRC that this bug says something about how live streams are requiring Flash. Aaron Mozilla's record videos use HTML5 video. The live stream video streams require Flash. We're in the process of moving to HLS, says Richard, as of a couple months ago, and we'll be able to do MPEG- from the same infrastructure. However, JW Player uses Flash to render HLS. We have not yet identified an MPEG- player. About to start testing with the -if reference code. If anyone out there knows of a decent MPEG Dash player that is not Flash based, maybe talk to Richard and comment in this bug. That's 1102717. That'd be great if we could get everybody off of Flash, because Flash is a shit show. Pardon my language. So hopefully this build won't take too long. In the meantime, let's think about what we're going to do next. Let's assume that this part is done, but I won't check it off until I verify. So the next step will be to expose the profile gatherer on NSI Profiler, because that's how other parts of Gecko that are not under the profile directory talk to the profilers through this interface, NSI Profiler. So let's check that out. That's this thing, and I think what we basically want is like an NSI supports get profile gatherer. So that like the content parent, which let's show you the content parent. Here, maybe we can do some kind of like check to see whether or not IPC content created. That's interesting. A notification goes around anytime a content parent is created. Maybe that'd be a better way of doing it. And what about plugin module parent? Flash plugin hang, that's it. Doing the init. Plugin module, content parent. Chrome parent is what I want. Plugin module Chrome parent. Update plugin timeout. Allocate these things. Initialize injector. Do injection on crash. Init plugin profiling. Where does that happen? That would occur in plugin module Chrome parent. That's where I would do it here. Is yeah, I would hold a reference. I would get a reference to the gatherer and hold it here. Okay. Wow, that's taking longer to build than I thought it would. Story of my life.
Hey, what happened?
Still taking a while to build. In the meantime, okay, reference the profile gatherer on instantiation. So we will expose it like this, and then in content parent, probably in init, we'll go ahead and just if we have to like if def this whole thing around whether or not profiling has been enabled at build time to go get a reference to the profiler gatherer and then hold on to it. And let's see, only if profiling is enabled. Otherwise, profiling, getting the profiler start will do the job of giving us a reference to shoot, that's not good. Profiler start params is what gets passed around during profiler started. Hmm. Hmm. So I guess, I mean, you just get a reference. You wouldn't, instead of passing it around, you just profiler started. You go get a handle. You talk to the profiler. You get um, you get the profile gather and you hold the reference here. Here you would drop the reference, and here you would profiler subprocess gather no longer needs to pass around the gatherer because everyone who's going to hold on to it or everyone who's going to respond to it should already have the gatherer. And then you say, yes, I will gather an out of process profile. Right. Okay. Philip says, "Arr," in IRC. Times it. It's 156. Okay. So how are we doing here? This is a 7. This is like probably a full build. Hopefully it won't take too much longer. Browser element parent. It's hard to tell how long a build, like where you are in the build, because it all happens in parallel, but I have a feeling we're pretty close to the end here. So I know how that's more or less going to work. Let me write down what I found though. On profiler started, have content parent and plugin module parent get a reference to the profile gather. Get and hold a reference to the profile gatherer. On profiler stopped, have content parent and plugin module parent drop the reference to profile gatherer. Parent. And then yeah, that's the game plan. That's the map. Go, go, go. Come on.
What happened?
Why aren't you?
I can't do my work.
Not until this build's done. I can't do my work. Philip says really sad. I know. He's probably talking about Flash, and I agree. We need like a good open source HTML5 dash player or MPEG dash player. And who knows, if we can't find one, we might just build one and open source it and help the web. Okay. So actually we need to verify this step, and we can't do any of these things really until this build's done. So while I'm waiting, I don't like waiting. So what I'm going to do is take a look at my review queue. Maybe there's something I can review. There are a number of things that are in my queue that are not high priority, so I have not yet reviewed them, which blows. And some of them are like really old, and that's bad. I'm guilty. But that's because like during the day, they're very low priority and I don't have time. And then during my evenings, when I would normally have reviewed them, they've been consumed by like I'm full disclosure, I'm getting married soon, so I'm doing a lot of wedding planning in my evenings. So I don't have like a whole lot of free cycles to work on that stuff. So, but I might be able to review some of this. Let me just pull one up. But yeah, some of those review requests are pretty old, and I feel bad about that, and I should do something about it. I should do something. But hopefully once this wedding stuff gets sorted out, I don't have to delay on them anymore. Tell the child that the UI resolution changed for the containing window. To avoid some sick messages from the child to the parent, we also send... So what Gabor is working on here is making it so that when the parent tells the child that the UI resolution is changed, that it also supplies some information so that the child doesn't have to go and ask the parent for it in the same like tick whenever it processes this message that the resolution has changed. Because what was happening was the parent was saying UI resolution was changed to all of these like remote browsers, and all of them were synchronously asking the parent, well, what's my DPI now? Which is, you don't want to cause a sync message to occur like immediately on like it's bad. It's bad. We could have told the child in that first message without it having to ask. So here's the information he's trying to supply. We also send the DPI and default scale with the notification. If we don't know the DPI and default scale, we just pass in a negative value, but in the majority of cases, this saves us from 2 sync requests from the child to the parent. That's good. So we receive the DPI and the scale. We cast the Puppet widget, and we update the backing scale cache. Does anyone else use clear backing scale cache? Show all results. So I think that's the only consumer of backing scale cache, so we can probably remove it. As this was the only consumer of clear backing scale cache, we can probably remove that method now. Pass the DPI and the scale. If the DPI was set to -1, if mDPI was set to -1 to validate and then try cache DPI and scale fails to cache the values, then mdefault scale might be invalid. Don't want to send that value to content, just send -1 for 2 in that case. So that'd be mDPI. If it's less than 0, then return the -1.0. Default scale. What is mdefault scale on Puppet widget? How are we doing? Still building. Holy smokes, that's a slow build. Puppet widget. There it is. Mdefault scale is a double. What am I doing? So wait, hold on. Default scale is a double. It's a double. So then why are we sending down -1.0? I'm trying to remember what a double is. To me, a float is something that has like floating point, like a decimal and then some stuff. What's a double? I'm trying to remember. I thought it was just like a really big integer. Maybe I'm wrong. Double. C? This is like, I feel like this is basic knowledge I should have as someone who's dabbled in C. But I don't. I've forgotten. A long double refers to a floating point data type. Aha. Double precision. So it's a double precision. A double is a floating point number. Double. I think. C data types. Let me just double check. Double check. Double. This is like basic stuff that I feel like I should definitely have known already, but I don't, and that's what happens. Sometimes you forget things. So it is a floating point value. Okay. So it feels weird that we weren't setting it to minus 1.0. That seems reasonable. Thanks so much, Gabor. I feel reasonably confident reviewing this code. Thanks so much, Gabor. Always thank your patch submitter. Oh, Richard's back. Richard says, happy to test any flash-free HLS player you know of, though. We've almost got a contract from Theo player through legal. That will fix the problem. Getting the rest of MSE implemented would do it as well. So there's some MSE work. Media. Alright. How's this build going? Still going. 16 minutes in. What the dealio? Where's all my CPU? I don't have a virtual machine open, do I know? It's probably OBS, to be completely honest. Yes, save. Well, I guess I can review another patch while I wait for this thing to finish off. So I reviewed one. Let's review another. I already have a dashboard open. Spin, spin, spin. Refresh. Let's see. Ursula's patch is humongous, so I don't want to get down that rabbit hole. This is sort of this is a performance patch that will hopefully make tab switching with E10S faster, and it's particularly exciting. I'll explain how it works while I wait, or I'll try and explain how it works, because I guess part of reviewing it is understanding how it works. I don't know if I fully do yet. But one of the problems with E10S is tab switching can be slow sometimes. And one of the reasons that seems to be, according to our performance profiles, is that it's nice that we've separated the content process from the parent process. That means the parent process is not being blocked up by things that the content process is normally doing. That is now doing. Because normally it would have been blocked because it's running in the same process. And that separation you'd think would be great. It'll free up the parent process, and yet it does free up the parent process. But the problem is sometimes the parent process in that free time decides to go and do expensive things. So you haven't reduced the amount of work, you've just given it more opportunity to do other work, and then the content process says I have a frame to paint, show this tab now, and then the parent goes, well, hold on, I was doing some other stuff, so I'm gonna wait. Okay, now I'm ready. Now I will paint your frame. And what that results in is slow tab switching sometimes. So Brad Lassie, who worked on this patch, his idea is when you're in the midst of a frame switch, in the midst of a tab switch, we tell Gecko, don't paint anything new until this frame is ready. So that, because painting, we'll do things we'll paint the tab bar, and we'll update the toolbar and all of these things. And those paints and the layout, etc., it can be expensive. And when the frame from the child is ready, it's possible that we're busy painting other stuff in the parent process. So this is one way of sidestepping that, is this patch. So what he does is loading tab can be non-null here if we timed it during the current tab. In that case, just overwrite with a different tab. It's had its chance. If loading tab is null, so he's added something to DOM window utils called suppress painting globally. And what it does is, after suppress painting globally, when it's sure that whoever's calling it is in the Chrome context. It gets the Pres context. That's the thing that does a lot of like, it manages like layout and painting. Gets the Pres context and tells it to freeze the refresh driver. The refresh driver is the thing that's like, okay, now draw again, now draw again. When we unsuppress, we thaw the refresh driver. We expose these things. So unsuppress painting globally. I'm worried. I really hope that like we don't get into a case where we've like suppressed painting and we fail to unsuppress and then nothing's painting, and that feels dangerous. Now, what do these like freeze and thaw methods do on Pres context refresh driver? So this is like this count. So we freeze, we stop the refresh driver. The refresh driver is probably the thing that's like, okay, now paint, now paint, now paint, now paint on the timer. Okay. And that caused us to stop the timer so we don't paint. The freeze count. What is the freeze count? You don't expose it. Hey, we're almost done building. That's good. We can finally test this thing and get back to the profiling work. We've got like 17 minutes, and then I'm going to call it. People watching this, if you're into design, let me tell you about my friend Ricardo. Ricardo is sitting over there, looking at you, buddy. He has the Hour of Design coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern. He's doing this right now. He's got his arms in the air. He's doing this because he knows he's getting himself pumped. If you're interested in seeing a designer at Mozilla do their job, much the same way that you're seeing me do my job, you want to see a designer, like what they have to go through in order to like work with specs or like figure out colors and make things look beautiful and feel good. Check out the Hour of Design. I've got a link to it in my agenda for his next episode. He'll be streaming live in about 45 minutes. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to abandon that code review and get back to this this other bug of the profile gatherer. And so now what should be possible is I should still be able to like gather profiles from these subprocesses. Yes, I have the profile from the subprocess, and now I want to make sure that the lifetime is right. So like, what I'll do is I'll add a destructor. And I'll be like, gatherer destroyed. And the reason I'm not going to use like GDB or something is gatherer created is because gathering a profile in a debug build is slow as balls. So I'm not going to do that. No good. I gotta, what do I do? What do I do? Oh, man, I'll just printf. Or, oop, there. It's just a quick hackery. I had a destructor before. It wasn't implicit. I created it myself. It was just empty. How are we doing on time? It's 2:15. Any mail I should know about related to any of the bugs I'm working on? Checking. Checking. Ooh, maybe. Alright, here we go again. So we should see like, ooh, whoa. A gatherer was created, then another gatherer was created. So now, and then a gatherer was destroyed. So a gatherer was created, and then a second gatherer was created. Huh. Now why would that be? Why are there two gatherers created? Because there's probably a sampler in the child process. So there's also a gatherer in the child process. That's why. So that's probably okay. And then a gatherer was destroyed. And a gatherer was created again. So now we have two gatherers. So if I stop profiling, we get two destroyed. So the books have balanced. 3 created, 3 destroyed. And if I start, 2 gatherers are created. If I stop, 2 gatherers are destroyed. Okay, so I feel pretty good about that. One thing to keep in mind though is that there is now a gatherer on in the content process as well. I mean that was always the potential was always there. It's just now that we are like actually instantiating one in the content process, which maybe we don't need to do. Only instantiate the profile gatherer in the parent process Gecko sampler. Okay. Next. So we've done this during the profiling window. That's done. Now we want to expose the profile gatherer through this interface. And when we change an XPCOM interface, we need a new UID would. So we'll add this. Actually, if we can do this in multiple commits, that's usually best. So what I will do, let's take a look at the diff so far. Right. Right, so I think I want to keep most of that. The things in here, I don't want to commit. I do want that stuff. I'm going to have to get rid, there was a to-do I saw in there. I'll have to clear that out before I request review. It was down here, the removal of mgather of that thing, like profile gathered. Probably don't need that anymore. But I will commit this stuff. So bug here, make profile gatherer exist during the lifetime of a Gecko sampler. And the next part is expose profile gather through as an NSI supports through NSI profiler. Okay. So, how will I do that? So I want to bump that UUID. Where was that U? I'll just make a new one. Mac UUID. So get profile gatherer. Some of these are capitalized on the, and some of them are not. Get profile data. I don't know what I should do. Profile gatherer. Okay. So then NS profiler needs to have whoop. I method imp profiler get profile gatherer, and then it takes an NSI supports. It's an out param. And then what we're going to do is nscom ptr SI supports gatherer equals then like profiler get gatherer, and then pass it like getter add refs ret val. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's all I need to do. No. No. That's what I won't do. Get gatherer. There's probably a shorthand for this, but I don't know what it is. Gatherer. And then I can do like gatherer dot forget a ret val return ns. Okay. And we also want to, if we're not profiling, getting the gatherer is not going to work. If we're not profiling, there will be no gatherer. So how do we find out if we're profiling get is active? If not profiler is active, a ret val equals null pointer return else. Okay. This can be null if this will be null. Profile gatherer will be null if the profiler is not currently active. I don't know if this is going to work. We'll just do that for now. Let's see if this builds. Nope. I want to switch back to debug builds now. It's 2:24, running out of time.
Here.
Almost played the wrong thing. Does not match any declaration. Get profile gatherer. It's profiler. Well, I made it part of NSI profiler.idl, so what are you talking about? Start params. So maybe there's something missing in sprofiler.h? No. So what you talking about, Willis? So maybe I have to do straight up mock build tools profiler to create the XPT. That's the thing that's like the conversion of like when that's the binary representation of these XPCOM IDL files, XPIDL. So that should satisfy it. Building. It's hard, man.
Mamma mia!
Where are we at? I keep opening that. So that's linking. Great. So now we need to like somehow get the gatherer. So there are a couple places we have to go. Gecko profiler, func, gecko profiler, impl, platform.cpp. This is sort of the path that things take. There's like this sort of strange abstraction between the profiler and the rest of Gecko, because the profiler is actually a separate project that is integrated into Gecko. Start params. No. Start param. Static inline void profiler get gatherer, and then we're gonna say, how do we get the gatherer? SI supports. Is SI supports used elsewhere in here? Well, it's imported, so that's good. SI supports retval, Mozilla sampler, get gatherer, a retval. So and then void Mozilla sampler get gatherer. Supports. Alright. I have to forward declare and SI supports. Yeah. Retval. And then the actual implementation. It's down here. Void Mozilla sampler get gather. And SI supports a retval. And then I'm just gonna say like a retval equals null pointer, and then that's it. So right now it'll only ever return null, but that it should work in that it will return null. I just want to make sure the infrastructure is there. Mikey likes it. Can I demonstrate? Linking. Building. You know what? Because the profiler touches so many things, I probably have to do binaries again. Like, this might suck. Hold on. Especially because I've only got like 10 seconds to go. You know what? I'm going to, here's my plan. I'm going to see if this builds. And if it does, and if I'm going to open the browser, I'm going to see if I can get the null point of the, like, get the profile gatherer off of the profiler when it's running. It should be null because I haven't actually gotten it yet. And then I will have gotten the infrastructure set up to do this part. And then the rest of this, maybe I can do that next episode. I might also do it on my own time. If you're interested in following along, this note is where I will be like putting my progress. You can see me check things off and add notes and like when things are going wrong. So there's a link to this note. I believe I put it in the agenda here. Yeah, so click that, and then you'll see where I got to. Okay, so this thing is probably just gonna like, it's a thing because like Gecko Profiler Func is this header that's basically used everywhere, and when you modify it, you kind of have to like rebuild the world, which blows. So I try not to touch it too often, but like look at all this stuff that I have to rebuild because I touched that header. It's probably gonna take like 6 minutes. So that's about average anytime I touch Gecko Profiler Func. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna cap it here. We got an okay distance. I thought I'd get more done today. I spent quite a bit of time on exposition, and then I had to wait for that build, and then so a couple things got in my way, but we got a review done. We started another review. That like unplanned review I did, I can put that in the agenda as well if you want to check it out. What did I do? I did reviewed, and then it was like the UI resolution one. Yeah. Rezo. I saw it. It was in my history. Come on. I saw it flip by. There it is. So here, I will put a link to this in my notes. And that is probably where I'm going to call it. So, not bad, not bad. Could have gotten a bit further today if I moved a little bit faster, if my machine was a little faster. I don't know why building took so long that one time. Usually it doesn't take that long. It was probably because I hadn't built an opt build in a couple of days and I had to do a clobber or something. That is my bad. Normally I like to do all these like prep builds in advance so that you don't have to wait that long. But then I go ahead and touch Gecko Profiler Func and I have to rebuild the world. So that's not amazing. Anyway, whoop. There we go. Thank you so much for watching. This was episode 25, and we did okay. I want to remind you that the episode 7 of the Hour of Design is coming up next in about 27 minutes. Ricardo will be sitting in this seat that I'm sitting in right now, and he will be. He's like doing. I should point my camera at him. He's over there, and he's like doing these like Rocky. He's getting himself pumped up. It's great. So I highly recommend checking that out. Click the link here. It's a great show, and you get to see what a real designer does. I'm always in Hash Live Hacking. I'm not just in there when I'm live hacking. I'm always like I'm in there all the time. So if you want to talk to me and it's like after you're watching the recording or something after the fact, you can still ping me in live hacking and talk to me if I'm online. I'm always kind of online, but I might not get back to you until I'm at a keyboard. And I wanted to point out that there's this there's this Air Mozilla channel that has like every live hacking event that's occurring on Air Mozilla. So it's not just Joy of Coding. There's other stuff like Joel Marr's Lost in Data. We've got some episodes there. Actually, I think those are the 2 shows we've got going on. But we're hoping to get some more live hacking stuff going on, which leads me to my final point. If you are in the Mozilla community, maybe you're hacking on, who knows, any sorts of things Mozilla-wise. Maybe you're doing web development. Maybe you're doing QA. Maybe you're doing, like, it doesn't actually have to be coding. It could be like what Joel does, which is, I mean, he does some hacking around in the Python in his episode, He does some hacking around with Python tools in his Lost in Data show, but he's not actually like working on Firefox bugs, and that's totally fine. That's a great show, and I highly recommend you watch it. And if you're out there and you do things that people would probably be interested in watching, and I'm gathering, I think everyone would be interested in seeing what everybody here at Mozilla is doing, because we all work on pretty cool stuff. I highly recommend putting a show together. Talk to myself or Richard in IRC in Hash Live Hacking, and we can connect you with the software that you need and everything you need to do in order to get a show going. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. We need more content on Air Mozilla. So that's all I think I have to say here. Thanks so much for watching. Next week, episode 27, and then I'm gone for a couple of weeks. So it's going to be a good one. Maybe I'll wear a funny hat. We'll find out. Anyhow, take care. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
The joy of coding.
See you.